Let's talk about the big picture. My whole big thesis has been that the only way to capture returns in this world of indebted economies with aging populations is to find the assets that are in a secular trend. And there's actually not that many. In fact, the ones that are really in a secular trend, the ones that outperform the debasement of currency by the central banks, are actually two. One is technology, and the other is crypto, and they both form part of what I refer to as the exponential age. So this is something that is going to be the fastest pace of change of technology and probably the fabric of society and how economies are structured in all of humanity in the shortest period of time.
Real Vision founder and chief executive officer Raoul Pal is predicting an explosive bull run for cryptocurrencies and technology, two asset classes he believes will lead the next phase of the exponential age. According to Powell, the 2024/2025 bull market will mark the true beginning of this massive exponential technological age. During the next few years leading to 2030, Powell believes we will begin to see an unprecedented pace of adoption of blockchain technologies, artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things, genetic sciences, quantum computing, and other disruptive technologies. This fast pace of adoption will be accompanied by the most explosive price increase ever recorded in human history. Powell predicts that the seeds of technological advancements that have been sown in the past decades will begin to bear fruits at dazzling speeds. High-tech innovations and incredible technological forces we can barely understand will be the hallmark of this age, making our daily activities faster, more productive, and most importantly, easier. According to Powell, the push for the next era of human evolution has become imperative because of the many failures of the existing financial and economic systems. Powell believes a global economic reset happened in 2008, with the world's major economies coming to the realization that the two most important factors for GDP growth, demographic and productivity growth, are either flat or declining. Yet debts have kept piling up, hitting 100% of GDP for most of these economies at different points since then. To delay the inevitable, Powell believes central banks decided that the best course of action was to put the debts on their balance sheets and print money periodically to somehow keep the fragile economies balanced. But by doing so, they passed a point of no return and have to continuously and constantly provide liquidity to protect the balance. With the insane level of money printing that is about to be unleashed by central banks next year, Powell is predicting huge jumps in the prices of crypto assets like Bitcoin, Ether, and Solana. The renowned macro guru breaks down his predictions for the next crypto and macro summer in a recent Twitter Spaces from which we will now bring you clips. Please share and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos. Thanks and enjoy.
The exponential age is that moment when multiple technologies that were all enabled essentially by the internet all layer on top of each other and go to mass adoption phase all at the same time. Crypto was the first of these technologies. If you also think that mobile phone was the other technology that built on top of the internet and fiber optic cables, that led to the rise of crypto. Crypto got to 400 million users in record time versus any other technology in history. So that was the fastest adoption of any technology the world had ever seen. And luckily, because of the way crypto is built from the ground up, you get to participate in that network adoption by owning parts of those networks, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, whatever it may be. But also at the same time, there were a number of other technologies. I first wrote about this I can't remember, it was I think maybe March or April 2021. And I said, well, what is coming is AI, robotics, space, Internet of Things, genetic sciences, distributed computing, quantum computing, and all of these things. And over the next 10 years, all of these things are going to experience Metcalfe's law roughly at the same time. Some will be later, like quantum. I didn't know what was going to come first. EV is another one. And when you put Metcalfe's laws that are all intermingled with each other, because they all build on top of each other, you get something called Reed's law. Reed's law is essentially Metcalfe's law squared. If Metcalfe's law you need a logarithmic chart for, Reed's law is preposterous because it makes logarithmic charts look like linear charts. So I actually asked ChatGPT this the other day. I said, is there any examples in human history of Reed's law? And nothing in technology has that ever happened before. It's actually only happened in biology. So this is something that is going to be the fastest pace of change of technology and probably the fabric of society and how economies are structured in all of humanity in the shortest period of time. And, we've seen that. I think people are starting to get their heads around it once you saw AI explode onto the scene in the fastest adoption of any technology ever. It got to 100 million users in 5 weeks. And by the time Microsoft roll it out across all of their Office suite of products, et cetera, it'll be 1 billion users kind of by Q1 next year. It's an extraordinary change. And then the technology itself is exponential in its improvements. And so within that, we're also seeing robotics starting to go exponential. We're seeing Amazon hiring more robots as productive economic units than they are hiring humans now. We're seeing all across the world changes. We're seeing EV cars outselling traditional cars. We're seeing a huge amount of capital pouring into changing sources of energy. We're seeing the massive growth of the Internet of Things and wearables. We're seeing AR and VR. Apple and Meta have both kind of hit the accelerator button on that. And by next year, Apple will have rolled this out to hundreds of millions of people. So we're in this extraordinary period of change. It's the most exciting period in human history. We're kind of lucky to be alive, but it's also terrifying. But part of my exponential age thesis has been blockchain technology. It is the way that value and contracts and storage and all of this stuff needs to happen in a digital age. It's the technology that enables this digital age that we're hurtling into. And the adoption is coming faster and faster. We're now seeing most of the financial system openly working on using this, from everything from equity settlements to cash settlements to payment transfers to credit card transfers. We're seeing giant brands starting to adopt it in the space. People like Starbucks having their on-chain loyalty programs that we've talked about on Real Vision. We're seeing fashion brands, Adidas and people like that adopting the technology. We're seeing whole nations adopting the technology. We're seeing the investment community starting to adopt the technology. So it's a very exciting point.
The technological platforms Powell speaks of are available, and tens of thousands of people are working tirelessly to make them better and more functional. And now we are beginning to see more broad acceptance and increasing adoption in all corners of the world. This is the beginning of the future ARK Invest founder Cathie Wood has been predicting since she founded her firm in 2014. In February, during a CNBC interview, Wood predicted that the increase in AI adoption, for example, will be so explosive that by 2030, Amazon would have more robots than employees. The multinational technology company is already adding about 1,000 robots to its workforce daily, so Wood's prediction does not seem so far-fetched. So the groundwork has been laid for blockchain and these other disruptive platforms. But the clincher, according to Powell, is the fact that we are heading into a massive macro summer, during which there will be an explosive increase in global money supply as central banks scramble to save their various economies from total collapse. It takes no genius to piece it all together. Explosive money supply growth, various technological platforms emerging and developing together at an equally explosive pace, and at the center of it all, the cryptocurrency industry. Let's get back to Powell as he further discusses his outlook for cryptocurrencies and technological stocks in the coming exponential age.
And what makes it more exciting is we are in both macro spring and crypto spring. Well, macro spring only on the forward-looking indicators. Currently, we're still in kind of macro winter, where we might get final week GDP numbers into this quarter and next quarter. But the forward-looking stuff says we're going to come through the other side sooner rather than later. While inflation, et cetera, still keeps declining and unemployment probably ticks up. But crypto markets are forward-looking, much like technology stocks are, because these are secular trends and they're long-term growth stories. And those markets bottomed with global liquidity back in last year. ETH was first in June 2022, followed by much of the rest of the larger crypto tokens were in October, although some are still relatively weak today. That period from then on is what's referred to as crypto spring. It's kind of a choppy period, but you tend to get decent price rises when you look back and you think, God, that was a painful year. But then you look back and you're like, wow, okay. And we see that. Bitcoin's up over 100% in crypto spring. Solana's up 220%. ETH's up about 50%. So it's been pretty positive. And the forward-looking indicators of liquidity, which is the key driver of all of this, are all pointing up. That as the Fed back off rate rises, the ECB back off rate rises, the next phase we're starting to see China has started stimulating again. We will likely see the Japanese do something in terms of yield curve control or weakening the yen. The Europeans have made it pretty clear that they've stopped raising rates now. The Bank of England have stopped raising rates, and I think the Fed have stopped raising rates. So the probabilistic outcome is by next year, the rates start coming down again as inflation starts coming down and the forward-looking inflation indicators are coming down. So what you've got is a backdrop for crypto to do really well, which coincides with the Bitcoin halving, which coincides with the macro cycle, the everything code, where everybody reset interest rates in 2008 at 0%. They kind of meant that nobody had to pay their interest payments. And then what we've had, everybody reset their debts between 3 and 5 years, every major government. And that rolling of debts every 4 years coincides with the Bitcoin halving, is the global economic cycle. It corresponds with the ISM. It corresponds with crypto price action, corresponds with equity price action. All of these things, it's also the same as the election cycle. They're all one big cycle now. And we're at the point in the cycle where assets tend to do really well. So I'm very excited on a forward-looking basis, and I have been excited and been very long crypto all year, and tech. Tech's had an amazing year. Our Exponential Age basket from Global Macro Investors up 50% this year as well. So technology's had a really stunningly good year. I still think it ends the rest of the year stronger, that this has just been a corrective, cheeky 10% correction, shake out the weak holders as we move forward as liquidity rises. So I'm looking forward to a real exponential age 2 years ahead, 2024, 2025, where we see both technology stocks and we see crypto really doing well. And crypto is usually the fastest horse in the race. It's more volatile, it has larger downside, but it has much larger upside.
Cryptocurrencies are indeed the fastest horse in the race, a fact which the industry has proven over and over again. 400 million users in record time, faster than the level of adoption of any previous technology. Bitcoin, the leading crypto asset, is already a mega cap asset in less than 15 years of its existence. At the moment, Bitcoin is easily surpassing companies like Berkshire Hathaway and ExxonMobil in market capitalization. This is despite all the negative campaigns against the industry, especially in the United States. They continue to try to put the industry down, but it has survived every attack and only gotten stronger. This in itself is enough reason to be very bullish about the next crypto and macro cycle. What are your thoughts on Raoul Pal's outlook for crypto, tech stocks, and macro in 2024 and 2025? Please drop your comments as well as your predictions for your favorite crypto assets in the comments section below. Also, be sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.